Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Let's see. All right. So my name is Jose Avalos. I'm the Visual Retail Worldwide Director for Intel. Visual Retail, the segment at Intel, it consists of digital signage for all the different vertical industries, everything from retail, transportation, corporate, healthcare, digital out of home. There's about 10 to 12 major vertical industries. My team is also responsible for intelligent vending, and I'll talk briefly about intelligent vending. We also do interactive kiosks. You know, the lines between digital signage and interactive kiosks are blending quite a bit, so my team does both of them. And then we're also responsible for e-whiteboards, mainly for education and corporate. So basically, any retail platform that has a large screen, my team is responsible for at Intel worldwide. The topic today will be intelligent digital signage empowering the omni-channel consumer. And I actually want to talk to you folks about three things. First, I want to talk about the industry, provide you a quick industry update. How many of you have been in the industry for more than 1 year? Raise your hands. Oh, only about half of you. Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's good. There's a lot of young people that are very creative in this industry. That's what makes it really exciting. And then I'm going to talk about branded interactive experience solutions. And then I'm going to finish with some thoughts about the omni-channel consumer. Okay? Should we get started? See if I can work this. All right, so let me spend a little bit of time on an industry update. So the first thing that I have to say is that I'm really bullish on digital signage, okay? Digital signage is really fast becoming ubiquitous across a lot of different vertical industries. Today, digital signage is the #1 fastest growing media in the world. Let me give you a couple of data points. In 2010, digital signage advertising spending grew 5 times faster than network television advertising spending, and it grew 2.5 times faster than cable television advertising. Those are pretty significant multipliers. Now, the other thing to note is that out of home is now the #2 rich media and the #2 exposure media. Now, not all digital signage is out of home, but the reason I wanted to share that with you is because I wanted to highlight the potential that digital signage has. Out of home today can actually reach 90% of television audience. So if we as an industry are able to move the industry from paper posters to digital interactive signage, then we have an opportunity to reach 90% of television audiences. And if we're able to do that, then that will bring in a lot of advertising dollars. One of the issues in our industry today is that even though as a medium, we capture about 20 to 25% of the eyeballs of the consumer, we're only capturing about 1% of the advertising dollars. So that's a terrible inequality. So if you look at digital signage from the advertising dollars that we attract, we actually significantly underperforming as an industry. And I think the main issue is accountability, right? We have to make the medium measurable and more accountable. We have to be able to really demonstrate to the brands, the return on investment. So we have some challenges as an industry. That's one of them. The other significant challenge that I said is the cost of creating and producing content. If you're operating a digital signage network, for every dollar you spend about 30 cents out of every dollar on creating and delivering content. Now, if you're operating a television network, that's only 2 cents. So that's a huge difference. So what ends up happening is that people that run digital signage networks create very simple content. And that is not good for our business, right? Because the content is what really makes the medium really engaging, right? So we have some challenges as an industry, but as an industry, we're growing very fast. For the last few years, depending on what industry analysts you listen to, we've been growing at about 25% CAGRs. We at Intel have seen significantly higher CAGRs than that. but the analysts seem to agree that it's around 25% for the last 4 to 5 years. So the industry as a whole is growing very fast. And we recently actually updated our market model, and I'll share some of that information with you. But we're now, based on our internal market research, we're forecasting that we will have about a little bit over 10 million players by 2015 and close to 22 million screens deployed worldwide. Now, one of the other trends that we're seeing is that in the past, the ratio of screens to media players was about 2.6, and that ratio is actually declining now, and is moving more towards 2.1 by 2015. So those are some of the big trends. So let me talk a little bit about this foil. This is pretty interesting. This is data from our internal market model at Intel. So in 2009, we did a market model based on 2008 actuals, or what we thought were 2008 actuals, and we forecasted a ramp. And then we refreshed the model in 2011. So just last year, we refreshed the model based on 2008 actuals. And the data was really surprising. One of the things that we learned is that we had a pretty good grasp of the North American market, but we completely undercalled the PRC market, the Latin American market, and the EMEA market. In fact, EMEA, the actuals in 2010 were 4x what our model had previously predicted. Right? So if you look at the entire EMEA digital signage market now, it's about the same size as North America. So it's very significant consumption market. Now in PRC, we're seeing tremendous growth, especially in transportation, because the Chinese government is investing significantly on transportation. And then LAR is also growing really fast. And there's a number of other markets that are growing very fast, like Turkey, Russia, India. There's a number of them. Brazil. So as I said now, we're forecasting 10.2 media players by 2015 and 22 million screens worldwide by 2015. Now, the other thing to understand is that because of the install base, when the analysts talked about CAGRs for this industry, they're talking about install base CAGRs, and those usually, on average, they're about 25%, depending on what analysts you listen to. But if you look at the shipment CAGRs, they're much higher. They're at about 47%. So that says that the industry is growing really, really fast. All right, since we are in the UK and this is Europe, I wanted to break down the numbers and give you a little bit breakdown for EMEA. So if you look at EMEA, if you look at the digital signage market in EMEA, the biggest sectors or vertical industries are retail, corporate, and banking. Now, one of the things that is different about EMEA than the rest of the world is that corporate actually has a very high MSS in EMEA, and it has been growing very fast. Typically, when you look at the other geographies worldwide, corporate would be maybe the 4th or the 5th largest sector, whereas in EMEA is number 2. Retail is number 1 worldwide, with the exception of China. In China, transportation is number 1 just because of the significant investment from the Chinese government. Okay. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is advertising. Although I think as an industry, we continue to underperform in terms of the amount of advertising dollars that we pull into our industry, we are making significant progress. So if you look at the digital signage advertising share of the out-of-home market in 2010, it was at about 20% versus 12% in 2005. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what's happening in digital signage. Digital signage is growing very fast. Worldwide retail is king. Transportation is growing very fast in China. Corporate is growing very fast in Europe. So I'm going to transition now. That was kind of a very quick update on the status of the industry. Again, I'm very bullish. Lots of growth, lots of momentum in the industry, but we still have some challenges that we need to fix as an industry. So I'm going to talk a little bit about branded interactive experiences now. About 2 years ago at the National Retail Federation in New York, Intel, we announced the Connected Store, which is really our vision for the future of retail. And if I can summarize what that vision is about, is really about creating retail environments that deliver a branded interactive experience for the end consumer, for the end user. And we want these experiences to be engaging, to be productive, to be fun, to be interactive. So one of the things that we set out to do, and we've been doing for the last 3 to 4 years, is we have done significant worldwide market research about what is it that the end consumer wants. And then we take those learnings and then we work with the brands to develop solutions. So these are some of the solutions that we have developed. You have the Macy's beauty spot there on the upper left, the Lego digital box that we developed in collaboration with Lego and other partners in the middle, in the upper middle. And then we also developed a new concept for vending with Kraft. The Kraft has started to deploy now in the US. And then at the bottom, you see the digital end cap that Intel developed with Spring and with P&G, less here. In the middle is the Adidas footwear wall that we actually demonstrated here last year. And it won a very prestigious award last year. It won the Innovation of the Year for Retail at the World Retail Congress. And this is an award that is voted by the retailers themselves, okay, not the industry. And then the in-window outdoor experience station there on the right. So these are some of the solutions that we have been developing with brands. So what is the impact, you might ask? So I pick a couple of solutions to kind of show the impact of what these branded interactive experiences have on the end consumer. So if we look at the Adidas footwear wall that we co-developed with Adidas, this is a blend of digital media and in the physical space, where now with the solution, Adidas can bring 4,000, can virtually display 4,000 sets of product on the screen. So the problem that it solves for consumers is that if you're a soccer mom and you live in a small town in the middle of the UK or in a small town in the middle of Iowa in the Midwest in the US, you can walk into your Adidas store, try the physical shoes that are available in the store, and then actually order the special color or special model and have it delivered to you within the next 20 to 48 hours, right? So you live in a small town, but you have access to the complete catalog of product from Adidas, just like if you were in the flagship store at Westfield Mall or in New York. Right? Now, Adidas has started doing some launches, product launches with this solution. They just launched the F50 model soccer shoe here at Oxford Street in their flagship store. And what they're reporting is that for the launches where they're using this interactive branded solution, they are seeing 5 to 6x the sales that they have done on traditional launches. So very significant accomplishment. Now on the right, you have the in-window outdoor experience station. Now the reason I selected this is because we have been doing studies at Intel to understand the effectiveness of interactive digital signage over paper posters, and also to look at the dwell time in hospitality environments. So about 2 years ago, we did a study at the Venetian Hotel and Resort in Las Vegas. It's a casino resort style facility. And what we learned there is we compare paper posters to interactive digital signage. And we place the paper posters and the signage on the exact same piece of furniture, right? And what we found was that the dwell time for paper posters was in the range of about 2 seconds to about 2.5 seconds. Now, the dwell time that we discovered with interactive digital signage was about 7 times more effective than the paper poster, and about 5 times more effective than a backlit poster. Right? So we know that in terms of getting exposure, in terms of getting the attention of consumers, digital signage is about 5 to 7 times more effective than paper posters. Now, but with all the studies that we did across different hospitality venues, this is hotels, malls, on average we see about 7 to 8 seconds dwell time. But with the in-window outdoor experience station, what we did is we integrated gesture, we integrated NFC technology with cell phone technology, and really created a really interactive experience. And they just run 2 campaigns with HTC and Citibank in the US. And one of the biggest surprises that we had was that the dwell time for most users, over 90% of the users, was over 2 minutes. And that is a very impactful result. So if you're a brand, do you want to advertise on a network that is getting dwell times with consumers of 7 seconds, or do you want to advertise on a network that is getting engagement dwell times of over 2 minutes? Right. So the answer is pretty clear. Right. So we know that interactive signage is very effective in terms of engagement, because at the end of the day, what the brand wants to do, the brand wants to create an emotional attachment for the end user to the brand, and the only way you create that is through engagement. Okay, so at this point you might be thinking, that some of the solutions are really point solutions that cannot really apply or create a whole new industry. But I don't think that's the case. I think that as we develop some of these branded and interactive solutions, we actually enabling complete new industries. So I'm gonna give you an example. 2 years ago, here at London Screen Expo, we launched our proof of concept for an intelligent vending machine. Now, intelligent vending machines haven't really changed much for about 20 years, right? They're pretty much the same. So what we did is we took digital signage technology as an ingredient and integrated into a vending machine, and we actually created a dual GUI. So we created a 10-foot GUI and a 2 to 3 foot GUI. So if you're standing 10 feet away from the screen of an intelligent vending machine, you get an advertising. But as you get close to the vending machine, then the vending machine will switch to a different GUI where now it starts to sell you product, right? And some of the other capabilities that we include in there, we included a technology that Intel has developed that is called anonymous video analytics that allows you to collect demographic data on the user. So you can collect gender, you can collect age group, and this is very important for the brands because the brands want to know, who's buying their product. And we had integrated cell phone connectivity. We also enable eCash, so the customers can pay with their eCash cards. And we enable remote manageability. Now, remote manageability is really important here because, first of all, you got to know where the machines are. We talked to a European vending machine development company and operator that has about a million machines. And the story that I always tell is that what they said to us was, the great news is that we have a million vending machines. The bad news is that we don't know where they are. So with this technology, you actually know where they are. You actually know what inventory are they carrying, and you can actually optimize your truck routing to deliver product to the machines that actually need the inventory. You can run remote diagnostics. If the operating system gets corrupted, for example, you can recover the machine remotely. It can, this technology can really reduce the total cost of ownership. So we introduced a proof of concept here at London Screen Expo in this building 2 years ago. In less than 3 quarters, the proof of concept was productized. It was deployed in train stations in Japan. And the day that the service launched, it sold out all the advertising for the next 6 months. So it has been very successful so far. Now, you say, okay, great, success story, you got one proof point. Is this really an industry? Well, let's fast forward to today and take some examples from North America and Europe. So now what we're seeing this digital signage as a technology really getting integrated into a lot of different intelligent vending machines. And I provided some examples for you here. On the left, you have examples from Italy and Germany from 2 companies there that have taken our entry-level platform, our Atom platform, and developed vending machines. In the middle, you have a U.S. company, Vendors Exchange, who has now designed our Intel i3 and i5 platforms into these vending machines. And then on the high end, you have the Investronica, a Spanish company that has integrated our i7 platform and created very rich experiences, interactive experiences for end consumers. So this is emerging as a new industry based on the work that we have done with the brands and other companies have done with the brands. Okay, now I'm gonna show you a video so you can see some of the work that we have done with one of the brands, one of our customers, with Lego. Very good customer of us. We think very highly of the company. Very creative, very innovative company, amazing company. So the video runs for about 2 minutes. So if we can play it now, please.
Play. When it engages your mind and ignites your imagination, new things start to happen. Amazing things. Lego grew from this innovative impulse and it thrives on it today.
Whenever we deliver something, we do everything humanly possible to deliver something which is better than what consumers expected. And I actually do think that Intel is one of those companies who do exactly the same thing.
Creating new products is just the start. Lego has challenged itself to create retail experiences that engage and delight just as much as the products themselves. The answer? Augmented reality, the real-time fusion of virtual 3D content with live video.
We realize that every single touch point for the consumer is extremely important to innovate on. I mean, how can we get the product out of the box without all the mess of the bricks in the store?
But seamless real-time augmented reality isn't easy to implement, especially if you want to inspire the most demanding customers.
If a toy is not really fun to play with, they won't play with it. And I see exactly the same thing with children and technology. If it's not delivered instantly, if it's not instantly engaging, if it's not fun, if it's not intuitive to get going with, they will not do it.
In collaboration with Intel, Lego designers and technologists found the intelligent, connected technology they needed. The second-generation Intel Core processor, with built-in intelligence required to deliver an amazing virtual experience.
It's necessary that the system reacts very fast because consumers, they don't know what to expect when they actually hold up a box in front of the camera. So it's very, very important that it renders very, very fast. There should be no waiting time at all.
The result of this collaboration between Intel and Lego? A new, hands-on, augmented reality experience that opens boxes, opens stories, opens minds.
They love it. It's a people stopper. When people see somebody standing where they're like, oh, and then they have to try it after.
They looked just amazed when they took this box up in front of the screen and they can see all the Lego. It's just like it's alive.
It starts with inventing new ways to play. It leads to inventing a better future.
We have the privilege of a mission which I'm personally crazy about, namely which is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. What greater purpose can we have than do our small contribution to inspire and develop children?
I really like this video because it really captures the work that we're trying to do with brands. Let me ask you, how many of you guys played with Legos when you were kids? Okay, well, if you want to play today, at the Intel booth, we actually have a fish tank where you can create your own fish. And then we have a surface table where you can create your own music and your own sound effects. So if you want to have a couple of minutes of relaxing time, go out there and create your own fish. And you can give it your own name or whatever name you want to give it. It's very exciting. So we're very proud of this solution. Lego first initially deployed this with our first generation core processors, and at the time they could support about 20 different products. Then the amazing engineers at Lego actually optimized the solution and then started supporting about 40 to 45 products. Now with the second generation of core processors, they can support close to 200 products, so most of the inventory in a store. Okay, I'm going to shift gears and I'm going to talk about the third topic that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. I'm going to talk a little bit about the omni-channel consumer. And so what's omni-channel? That's probably the first question that we need to ask ourselves. One of the things that we see in the retail industry, and I decided to focus on retail because it's the largest vertical industry in digital signage. So one of the things that we see from retailers is that, of course, they want to increase their in-store traffic. They want to increase their conversion rates, and they want to increase basket size, right? But a lot of retailers think of channels as separate different channels. So you hear a lot about multi-channel strategy, right? How do you make all these multi-channels cohesive? How do you make online, catalog, and brick and mortar, and the different touch points in the brick and mortar consistent, right? At Intel, we talked about compute continuum because we tend to think of the world as computing elements. But from a consumer perspective, the consumer really thinks about experience continuum, right? And so the message that I have here on what the omni-channel consumer is that the consumer doesn't care about channels. The consumer doesn't see different channels. The consumer basically sees one brand, right? They don't care if they're talking to Macy's online or they're talking to Macy's in the brick and mortar, right? They want to see a consistent experience across all channels. So omni-channel is about providing a seamless, consistent experience across all touch points and we want that experience to be personalized, we want it to be relevant, and we want it to be meaningful. So as a consumer, it doesn't matter if you're interacting with the kiosk, or you're interacting with the digital signage, or you're online, or you're at the point of sale, right? You want to feel the essence of the brand across all the different touch points. And that's how we think about omnichannel. Now, it's not easy to do. It's fairly complicated. This is a very simplified version of a retail architecture. So on the right side of the slide, you have all the customer engagement, all the different touch points where you can touch the customer, right? From intelligent signs to electronic menu boards to point of sale, customer recognition, self-service, handhelds, smartphones, tablets, right? And then you have the service and management, and then you have the back-end system. As I said, this is highly simplified. I actually saw the architecture for one of the leading retailers in the world. And if you've ever seen the design of a microchip, that's exactly how it looked. There were wires going everywhere, right? So one of the challenges with implementing omnichannel is that you have to have these new interactive branding solutions coexist with the legacy devices, right? So you have these brand new solutions that we're developing, very innovative, very engaging, very interactive, that now have to coexist with a point of sale where the operating system hasn't been updated for 15 years. That's really challenging. So it's not easy to do. So I have listed here some of the challenges that we think that are really critical at providing an experience continuum, as I described, for omni-channel consumers. And the first one is really the legacy infrastructure. How do you integrate new devices into the retail environment so they can coexist and do it cost effectively? Okay. So that's in the back-end system of the retail store. In terms of consumer engagement, clearly the challenge there is cost-effective deployment of interactive digital signage. Right? As you folks know. One or two solutions of digital signage might not be really expensive, but if you're a retailer and you're running 800 stores, any number multiplied times 800, it's a big number. So the CapEx is a really big issue in our industry, right? And then the challenge number 3 is really about actionable insights. All right, so you integrate interactive digital signage into your environment, whether you're in retail or you're in a university setting. One of the key challenges that we have in the industry that I talked about when I started my presentation was, how do we drive accountability? How do we demonstrate return on investment if it's an ad-driven network? How do we demonstrate return on objective if it's an informational network, right? So the way you do that is through metrics, right? Through analytics, right? But collecting the data is not enough, right? You really got to be able to take that data real time and turn it into business intelligence so that you can impact that consumer there at the point of sale or at the point of wait or at the point of transit, depending on what your network application is. So those are some of the challenges. So to summarize my presentation, very bullish on digital signage. We have a lot of momentum as an industry. We're the #1 media, the fastest growing media in the world now. We do have some challenges. I think that we have moved away from what I call digital signage 1.0, which we're putting television CRT monitors and repurpose television content into stores, and that doesn't really work anymore because consumers are exposed today to the latest consumer electronics, and that's what they expect when they walk into the store, right? You see little kids walking into Walmart, and they walk up to a screen, and they start going like this. And then the next thing they say is, it doesn't work. So I think we're moving away from that, and we're really creating really engaging, really interactive solutions for consumers. And I think that's the right path. So what we might be talking about here next year, what does the future look like for digital signage? So let me close with that thought. We think that digital signage needs to be audience aware in the future. We think it needs to be immersive. The content is really important, right? I talked to a creative director for a flagship store in New York, and he was telling me that really to keep the consumer interested, he has to refresh the content every 2 to 3 months, and he has to refresh the technology every 2 to 3 years. It has to be a rich visual experience, right? If you're repurposing TV content and you're mounting the screen up in the sky, so you have to be a giraffe to look at it, it's not going to be successful, right? So if you're deploying digital signage today, it has to be engaging, it has to be with the latest technology, it has to collect analytics, so it can turn those analytics into real-time business intelligence. It has to be secure, right? There has been a couple of incidents in the last couple of years where people have hijacked digital signage networks. And if you're a brand and you have 200,000 vending machines, imagine how damaging it would be to your brand if inappropriate content got on the digital signage on your vending machines, right? There's no cost. I mean, it's just unlimited risk. So more and more, the solutions have to be really secure. We're starting to see municipalities calling the digital signage network operators and saying, look, I want to make sure that nothing funny happens on that network on our train system, right? Also, from a total cost of ownership perspective, these networks need to be managed. You got to be able to repair them remotely. It's very expensive to send somebody to repair a sign. Here in the London Underground, there are some media players that are sitting below concrete that you can only update or fix between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. Every service call is 2,000 pounds. That's really expensive, right? So it's a lot easier if you can remotely manage and repair the media players. And then, measurement. We have to show ROI, we have to show RO of the solutions, and energy efficient. So what do I think about the next year? I think the biggest change in the next year is going to be the integration of digital signage with mobile devices, with NFC. Because what we have seen is we have seen the evolution of digital signage, and it's very similar to the evolution of other embedded devices, where you start with an analog solution. In this case, we started with print media. Then the paper poster said, "I want to be digital," right? So then it was digitized, and it became digital because it wanted to change its content. It wanted to have the ability to easily change its content. Then once it became digital, then it said, well, if I'm digital, I really want to be connected to the internet so that I can be my content can be remotely updated, so the advertising can be changed 20 times a day, right? Then once it became connected to the internet, then the digital sign said, well, I want to be intelligent. I want to be remotely managed. I want to be energy efficient. I want to be secure. I want to be able to provide and support rich media content and blending. So I think that's where we are today. I think if you look at a lot of the solutions here on the floor, you see a lot of intelligent digital signage. I think the next step is the digital signage saying now, okay, I'm here at the point of sale or at the point of wear or at the point of transit. I got the consumer in front of me. I'm providing a rich, engaging experience that consumer can learn through social media and through product specifications about the product. Why can I close the deal? Why can I conduct the transaction? And I think that's the next step in the evolution of digital signage. So we're going to see a lot of NFC being integrated into mobile devices that will be able to interact with digital signage. The other benefit of it, there's a second benefit to the integration of mobile devices with digital signage, is that to a large extent in the past, digital signage has been a one-to-many medium, right? So, but if you walk into a pharmacy and you're engaging with the digital sign through a loyalty program, you don't really want your personal information up in the sign, in the sky, right? You want to have a one-to-one communication. So I think what integration with mobile devices will do for digital signage, it will make them turn them into a dual mode device, where you can have a one-to-many communication medium, and you also can have a one-to-one where you only see your private information on the phone, right? And that works in pharmacies. It also works in retail. For example, in retail, if you're a loyalty customer, you walk into the store, you want the store to know that you just walk in. You want the store to know that you're a loyalty customer, what your shopping list is. You want it to download coupons that are relevant to you, that are relevant to your shopping list. And if you're in front of a digital end cap, you want to be able to get loyalty pricing that only you can see, right? Nobody else can see, right? So we think that's the future. I want to thank you for coming today. There was a little confusion about whether I had 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Then they clarified and said I have 45 minutes. So I'm going to save a few minutes in case you guys have any questions. But that's really what I wanted to cover. Lots of momentum. Interactive branded solutions are here to stay. And I think we're going to see a continuum of experience across touch points in a lot of the vertical markets where digital signage gets deployed today. So any questions? No? Okay.